And what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Chris Akin Presents. I am the Chris Akin part of Chris Akin Presents. The real part of the show, though, that guy over there, Mr. Erik Ferentinos. Erik, how are you, brother?
Doing all right.
Yeah, look out.
Have you heard the latest news about our buddy Jakey Lee?
I literally have the story ready to pull right up. Actually, I was gonna open with that as well, man.
Right, this is nuts.
And was startled serious because do you know Jake at all? I mean, I know him a little bit, and super nice guy, like one of the nicer guys that I've encountered. Of course, with you, being part of the rat camp, so to speak. So is Jake. So there's that connection as well as that. But regardless of connections, awfulness was brought out this morning. Was it this morning or last night or? It was early this morning,
early
right?
This morning, right, in Las Vegas somewhere. I don't know exactly what city he lives in there, but just walking his dog early in the morning.
He's walking his dog, and he takes three bullets.
One to the chest, one to the arm, and one to the foot.
Yeah, and I mean, according to the source of all news, Eddie Trunk. So I'll take that as probably okay. In this case, I'll take it as probably accurate. Says Jake's okay. That's the good part of this news, is that he's okay, and it didn't hit him in the head, didn't hit him in the heart, nicked him in the lung a little bit, but he'll be all right.
Yikes.
I mean, it just sounds like he'll be okay, but god damn it, dude. What is going on out there these days, man? He's out walking his fucking dog.
I mean, there's safe neighborhoods there. Susan's lived in one for a long time. I think the same place Steven used to live at. And they have places that are safe, but like I don't know if he's anywhere near the Strip or whatever, but it's like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Once you get past the casinos, you don't want to be walking down there. And then you have the mole people we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
A whole underground civilization of freaky people that live under the Las Vegas.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Vegas has always been a hub for crime anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When the mob completely ran it, it was less crime infested because it was just the mob guys fighting each other.
Right.
They didn't allow anybody else to come in. But now with it all being corporate owned, there's nobody protecting it.
Did you happen to see the Tropicana get demolished?
No, when did that happen?
They had a not a live celebration, but basically a celebration for it, where they had all these crazy fireworks involved. But then when you watch it, it just totally looks like 9/11. Controlled, just typical controlled demolition. You watch it just like go to dust.
It just falls down.
But end of an era. Speaking of old Las Vegas.
Is there anything left from old Las Vegas, or is it all now Kittyland?
I think there's a few places. I'm not the authority on Las Vegas. Half our band lives there. They'd be able to tell you better. But no, we're totally bummed in the rat camp over here in this news about Jake. He was one of the original rat guitarists.
Yeah.
I think I remember Matt saying he talked Matt into going to LA from San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Matt knows him even more. So he's probably even more freaked out to hear that, as Steven was. I heard from Steven today. He's like, did you hear this? He had the article out. So we wish him a speedy recovery and hope that whoever did this is on somebody's eye ring or something, that they can find them.
Hopefully they get whoever these assholes were that shot him, or assholes. I don't know if it's one or more, but
they're saying just a random. They're already saying a random thing.
Yeah, and that just, dude, I hate to be this guy, but I'm gonna be this guy. It's just the way of the world now, man. You can't do regular shit. It's not like Jake was out there. First of all, not for nothing, but Jake is one of the more mild-mannered, quote-unquote, rock stars that there are.
Right.
He's not out there in people's face. A lot of people don't know if he's alive or dead half the time because he's not he's not really super active.
Mm-hmm.
He fires up when he fired up Red Dragon Cartel, that was for the first time in like 15 years since he had done anything,
Right.
and before that he did one off Enough's Enough record in 2009 or something. And before that was Badlands, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. He's not, what I'm trying to say is he's not Ozzy, that's in people's face all the time. That's every time he moves, he's in there. He's a mild-mannered guy. I'd imagine if you're not at a show to see him, he's probably not even really recognizable as a rock star.
Well, yeah, it's almost a niche thing now. I mean, when you get real about it, most people probably under 40 wouldn't know really who he was.
Right.
It's the older people like us that know totally who he is and would recognize him anywhere. But most of these young people don't know any of that stuff. There is a resurgence of kids playing guitar, and they come into these old Ozzy recordings, and
sure.
I mean he's definitely immortalized on the Bark at the Moon
right sure.
record and Shot in the Dark. Yeah, both of those records. Ultimate Sin.
Yeah.
Correct. Ultimate Sin. So he's just like in there forever. But not everybody knows him. This could be totally a random thing where it's just thugs out just blasting people for no reason. I don't know.
Or, and I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days. Maybe they were trying to rob him or something, and he didn't have his wallet on him or something. They shot him. Who knows? Or
right,
the dog started barking, so they shot him. You don't know. But it's the world we live in now, man.
Right.
I live in a safe neighborhood. I know I do. It is a pretty safe neighborhood, and I carry all the time. And thank God I'm in a state where I'm allowed to carry all the time. But
there's been some murders here by the Beach Mansion West.
Yeah.
Right here in the last 2 weeks. It's actually been homeless people, which I've talked about them here. But all of a sudden, like 3 different homeless people were murdered in like a couple day period, to where they almost thought we had a serial killer over here. But one of them was just like 500 feet away, just across from our building in the bushes. Somebody stabbed to death. There was a guy beaten to death on Pacific Highway, on the Coast Highway.
Wow.
So scary stuff. It's not safe really anywhere, and they don't really keep anybody incarcerated for long anymore,
if at all.
Everybody gets bail or gets to just leave. Even the guy had like another guy that was allegedly was going to try to go after Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Like a third person
this week,
and that guy actually had bail posted. It's
and it was not even high bail. It was like $5,000.
Yeah, it was. Makes you wonder if it's even like real, any of this stuff. Because there was a time where just joking about something like that could land you in jail.
Yeah.
And be swept off somewhere. And under the Patriot Act, they could totally just swoop you up. And definitely that's what they said that was for, is to catch terrorists. And if somebody's a domestic terrorist, they don't have to have a trial. They could just come in and take you away. It's weird that this guy would not even be affected by the Patriot Act, but would be able to post bail locally and get out. It's kind of questionable.
Yeah, in an attempted assassination attempt on a former president.
Right.
Come on.
Who's currently running
who's
for
currently
office.
Running, but even if it was I don't know, Jimmy Carter, who's 100 years old and damn near dead. 10 years ago, if that came out that this guy was after Jimmy Carter, I look at the dude that shot Reagan. He still can't get more than a weekend pass. To go see his mom or something. He can't get any. He can't get.
Doesn't he have a gig though? Doesn't he? Isn't he playing music? And he was already out and going to be playing gigs and stuff.
That guy?
Yeah.
Mark Chapman?
Mark Chapman. That
I gotta see that.
Said he did it for Jodie Foster was his inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
But that was another one where I went, how the heck does this guy ever get out? But he did, because he was found to be crazy. Maybe he was in a mental hospital, but he was out. He plays music, and he was like trying to book shows.
Jesus Christ. What world are we living in? Dude, I'm telling you, man, with every passing day, I just hope for the fucking meteor.
Right.
I just hope for the meteor. Just hit us and go right through the planet and end this. Just end it. I mean, it's not going to get any better. That's the part that I find the most laughable about all of it. We're 21 days away from the election? I think it's 3 weeks from today.
Right.
I laugh that there are 100 million people in our country right now that think something's going to change. No matter which side wins. There's 50 million on one side saying this is the change, and there's 50 million on the other side saying this will be the change. Nothing's going to fucking change.
No.
Nothing.
No,
nothing. We're still going to be paying $4 a gallon or more for gas. What do you pay for gas out there?
Oh, today it looked like it was up to about $4.30, and that's kind of cheaper
low.
by my place. Yeah,
I was going to say that's low for you. I know here, I was out yesterday, I guess it was, and it was like $3.20 or something like that, and that was the lowest I've seen it in months and months, and it's like, people, I keep laughing when I see, especially on fucking Facebook, people are posting up the prices of like when the last day Trump was in office.
Right.
And here it was like $1.70 a gallon.
It got super low for a second after there was some kind of market dip or something, and everything went down to nothing. And that was awesome for me. I think in 2019 or maybe.
Yeah.
Or 18.
But it's laughable that people think that's coming. Well, if Trump gets in, it's going back to $1. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not going down. Forget it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know. The whole world is, I don't want to turn this into a political conversation. I really don't. But the whole world is blown up. And if you look at politics, it makes you crazy. So I personally try not to, except for when I'm doing the Seth show, really, because he likes to talk politics. But, man, when you see guys like Jake, who are mild-mannered, not doing anything, what's he fucking doing? He's walking his dog. Mm-hmm. He probably gets up in the morning. It's probably his lone responsibility that he has in life is to take care of this dog. Take care of this dog and play some guitar. That's what Jake does. Mm-hmm. And he gets up early. It's obviously early, and the reports I read, it said that it was still dark out when he got shot.
Right.
And I'm like, I know a million rock stars. You know a million rock stars. How many rock stars do you know that are up before it is sunlight?
Well, me.
But you're the one.
But that's because it's like getting towards wintertime. It stays dark till like 7 a.m. here now. So.
But I mean, the average rock guy gets up at the 12:45.
Right. The younger ones, certainly.
Yeah. Even the older ones, really. On days that you guys aren't traveling, you're going to tell me that Steven or Bloss or whatever are getting up at 6 a.m. to get in their morning constitutional? Get out of here.
Some of these guys are very regimented, with their exercise routines, and they're up early. Matt's up early. I know Bloss gets up early. I don't want to speak for anybody else. I think Piercy may sleep in shifts throughout the night. He's somebody who gets up every few hours. Everybody has different sleep cycles. For me, I'm like ready to call it a night by like 9 or 10.
Right.
And my cats get me up at probably 5:30 or 6.
Yeah. I know me and you go through that weird, like, there is no set schedule, really. Like, you have a little more of a set schedule because you got the girlfriend that you live with, which keeps you sort of on a real schedule. Right. But I know you're on that real schedule till you get on a plane, and then you're all fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. Then it's like time and space gets all screwed up. It's a 2-hour change right away. It's way later.
Right.
And then if we have to like get up to get early flights, one bummer, we're leaving tomorrow. We're supposed to play 4 shows in a row. Right. And then we got word yesterday that the Bret Michaels Party Gras show in Virginia is going to be, I heard it was canceled, but Pete Evick made an announcement today that it's going to be postponed, and they don't know till when. So that kind of screwed up our week. We had all of a sudden change our plane tickets so that we could go to, I believe, Missouri a day early, because we're playing a casino with Vixen there on Friday. But yeah, we were supposed to play. We're playing Roanoke, Virginia on Thursday at Dr. Pepper Park, and then we were supposed to go to somewhere in Virginia. That is off with Bret Michaels, and so we're going to go a day early into Biloxi, Mississippi,
Right.
and we're going to stay at that casino and then play there Saturday night, and then fly to Destin, Florida, for a show on Sunday. Now we have to get up really early after Roanoke, like it's a 6 a.m. flight, so we probably won't even sleep that night. You know what I mean?
Christ.
That screws you up. But so maybe it was a good thing that we'll have a day off now, that we could actually relax for a day.
Yeah. But where do you go? And I've always been curious about this. So this is a good example of you sharing, pulling the curtain back, because normally you'd be traveling to whatever city that was canceled.
Right.
So now where do you go? Do you stay in the city or?
Well, they had to basically, I don't know if, I think we were going to be driving to that Virginia show that got canceled. So now we just ended up having to change the tickets to come a day early. But that, of course, screwed up my seats I had on the plane. So now I have like pretty much crap seats for most of this trip. It's a Delta
Row X.
Yeah, just middle seats and stuff. It's gonna be tough. And this flying to Atlanta, man, it's like it seems like that's the main place to go to save money, is to go in through Atlanta. And I just feels like I'm there every trip. That's the hub I stop at for a layover. And it's like coming back from Atlanta is like 4.5 hours, to San Diego. So and that's after taking an additional flight before that, my back starts hurting, man, by the time when you're just all crunched up in a seat. So I've been kind of dealing with that. It is rough. It's much easier to be on a bus and doing the shows than this flying to them all is a pain in the ass, literally.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and a big part of that too is, you fly from Atlanta to, this would be the part that would kill me. The flight from Atlanta to L.A. would suck, and I get that probably sucks, but if you have to then, like you do a lot of times, then you have to drive 90 minutes, from LAX. Dude,
no, I don't go to LAX. I fly out of San Diego.
Okay, but
those guys are flying out of.
Sometimes
it's rare. That would have to be something like the ticket was going to be, $6. It would have to be such a savings that I'd have to say, pay me more to do it, or give me something if you're saving all this money, because I'm not.
Right.
I'm going to have to pay extra to drive there in my time.
Dude, you know as well as I do, though, the money only counts the day you're booking it. When you're actually trudging through that airport and going to the Hertz to get a rent-a-car or picking up your car, that money don't mean shit to you at all.
Right. It's been you earn it. You earn your money out there. We get paid really well, but it's a lot of work and you don't get a lot of sleep. This month was our best month for playing and working. So I was excited, but of course, even just losing that one show, I'll live with it, but it's like, oh man, that's a pretty big loss to not get that. Hopefully they do postpone it to another time, so we do eventually get that the money for that and get to play for those people first and foremost. Anybody who bought tickets, sorry that this happened. But the other 3 cities we'll be at, and then next week we're in Indiana, Nashville, Indiana, and then Columbus, Ohio, King of Clubs. That's a big local show for you guys, 25th.
Yeah.
Small little club show, right? That's a small place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not that big. I mean, it's probably 500 maybe, if I had to guess.
Right.
I mean, it's not tiny. It's
That's
not
intimate.
50.
Right.
Yeah, it's a small place, but a lot of bands do play there. It's kind of like an up and coming club. I mean, it's been there a while, so it's not new, but it wasn't always the one that people went to, and more I see King of Clubs, is getting
bigger bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a cool venue. I've only been. I mean, Columbus is a little bit far for me. I feel bad saying something's far for me. You're flying halfway around the country to do these damn shows.
Hey,
I'm like,
man,
it's 2 hours.
There's people now that invite me to stuff down in San Diego, and I live in Oceanside, so it's like that's a bit of a journey. Sure. It's not so easy to get down there. It's like 40 minutes each way. You're asking a couple hours almost in travel for that. And I'm not drinking anymore.
Sure.
So that makes it even harder, really, when you're not boozing it up. And
yeah, well, that is harder, dude. It is. It's not so much harder. What's hard is to not drink.
Right.
When you're at a show in a club and you're like, oh man, I got like a 2-hour drive home. So I just did that when I went to Detroit. When I went to Detroit to see Metallica and Pantera, I drove there and I knew right away I was going to drive home after it. I was just like, I'm not going to stay in downtown Detroit. Just pulling up into Detroit, I was like, there's no way am I staying in this shithole. So I knew I was going to drive home. Well, it meant I couldn't drink. And man, that was a bitch being at that kind of a show and not having a single beer. Right. That was like, this sucks.
Alcohol hops you up.
It does.
It's like fuel.
Mm-hmm. Give me fuel. Give me fire.
I keep wanting to say that. I'm like, that's going to be lame if I start singing that.
I'll do it. Why not?
Give me fuel. Give me fire. Give me the go. Somebody had to do it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It is harder now. And with the cost of everything, A, you don't want to get that ticket. That ticket is way too costly now for a DWI. But B, you just, if you're starting to make excuses of why you can't optimize the show, you can't have full fun at the show, and the show, not you guys' show, but a show would be, 2 tickets, a dinner, some drinks. You're talking about $400 or $500 now for shows.
Maybe it was this show that I got invited to was for CKY. My buddy Todd was like working for them, and they were playing Brick by Brick, which is my old stomping grounds. And I probably would have gone. It was the night before we were leaving though for the Arkansas show, and I had to be up at 3:30 in the morning to get ready to catch this flight. And it would be like I'd be going all the way down to the airport, and then all the way back for a few hours, and then all the way back to the airport.
Right.
And my check engine light's on right now. It's like I have a million excuses. I was also getting over being sick, as I had mentioned on the show that week. And that did, even though I'm better now, it really sucks the life out of you when you have like a week-long illness. I know a lot of people got sick this past like week or two.
Yeah.
And I'm finally better, but still like a little tired and still thrown off from these trips. I just got back late Sunday night. So I'm only my second day home, and I got to be up at 4 a.m. to leave tomorrow.
You sound like you got a cold now.
I'd say I'm all better. I mean, maybe a slight amount of congestion, but feels pretty good in my nose.
Right. I mean, you just sound a little congesty.
A little bit.
Yeah, but no thing. You can have that life, my friend. I don't envy you. I really don't. I love when I see stuff online and people are like, "Oh, you fucking complaining about this and that. You're living the rock star life." I'm like, please. Right. If you knew, I've been backstage enough. You certainly have been backstage way more than me. But I've been backstage enough to know that 99% of what people perceive of the rock star life ended about 30 years ago.
I feel that way.
Yeah. That shit ain't There's no more 15 naked chicks in the green room. There's no more cocaine everywhere. There's no more, booze everywhere. If you're lucky, there's like one bottle of Jack Daniels in the corner, and everybody's, pouring it into a solo cup and sipping off it after a gig. It's just not the same anymore. It's not the old days.
I feel like it's been years since anything like that remotely has gone on, but that's how it is once bands get older. Once they're in their probably even as young as 30s, there's guys that clean up their act. The professional ones, any ones that went the distance for the most part, had stopped drinking and partying.
Sure.
They're the first ones to go back, singers especially, go back to the room and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's exceptions, there's been exceptions. Some of the like Tammy from Faster Pussycat, used to party, but he's not drinking anymore. He had to finally stop.
Yeah, well, dude, all of these guys, look, your boss was a notorious partier.
Right.
Notorious partier.
That's right.
And he doesn't party at all, does he? I mean, he doesn't do nothing.
No, not really. Not really. He's definitely not drinking. So,
he's not drinking anymore. And the harder stuff, I know he gave up all that stuff. And he was one of the most notorious partiers out there. Another one, James Hetfield.
Right.
Good Lord. I mean, the band had T-shirts that said Alcoholica. You know, right. They were notorious for drinking. And now it's, hey, friends, what's up? You know, so that they can make those gigs and make somewhere. It's a weird thing because when all these guys were young, and this is even before you were in the bands, but when all these guys were young, they had no cares in the world. They were just like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's get a blowjob in the bathroom before we head out to the show, man. You know, that was
bro. You're talking about, is that your guy friend you're talking about?
yeah, that's what it was. But you know, that was the mentality, man. It was just party all day and play the show at night. And somewhere along the way, these guys that never gave a shit before really started caring about the performance. Mm-hmm. You see, I know, Steven cares about the performance. He wants to do a good show. James Hetfield wants to do a good show. Rob Halford wants to do a good show. You know, the list goes on and on. The guys, and you can almost name them, the guys that are in their 60s and 70s that are still kicking ass are all the guys that stopped partying. Every one of them. You know, I don't know, is there anybody that's in that era that is still partying and sounds good?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, Sammy Hagar, seems to still.
Yeah. The question is that a mantra though, or is that real?
A mantra as far as Sammy goes?
Yeah. Is Sammy putting out the perception? Mm-hmm. Or is he
like it's really drinking iced tea instead of
It's, or it's not 15 shots of Cabo like it used to be.
Right.
You know, it's like I'll give an example of somebody that I think is doing the perception and it ain't real. And that's my good friend. I think he's your friend too, Chips Enough.
Okay.
Chips Enough for years, as long as I knew him, was doing the whole get high on the new thing. And man, you would get on his bus in the 80s and the 90s. And I mean, it was literally like the Spicoli van. The door would open and just a big thing of pot smoke would come out. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I know this is because forever and a day I wanted to get high with Chip because he was a friend.
Right.
And I always had jobs or whatever that I couldn't. So I finally got to a point where I didn't have jobs anymore for that, and I was divorced, so I didn't have to deal with the wife or any of that shit. And I went to a show, 7-8 years ago, and I get on the bus with Chip, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't smoke pot anymore."
You know, now that you mention it, because I have partaken with him, and maybe it was initially more than 7 years ago. But then I went up to see them a couple years back at the Whiskey, and I think I had a big joint backstage, and everybody wanted the guitar player ran out of there, and then I think Chip even turned it down. Now that you mentioned it,
yeah, I think he gave that up. But it's funny because if you see his performance, he's still doing that shtick. He's still up on stage going, "Yeah, we're backstage doing lines of coke, getting ready for the show." You know, he does the whole shtick, and it's a shtick because it's not what's going on,
right?
You know, and it's like, okay, I get it. But he's another one, hardworking guy. He's always touring, he's always working, but he had to clean it up in order to keep going.
Right. Just to keep to the schedule. The older you get, when you're younger, you can kind of pull it off, especially if you're not, having to drive or just me being in charge of my belongings and getting them to where they need to be. I feel like I have the most stuff I've ever taken with me. I have that giant guitar case. I got a backpack. I have the pedal board thing that's in a soft case I wear over my neck. And then I have my suitcase. Right. That's a lot of crap to do a gig, like to have everything I need. for it, and it's beating me up, and just I freak out just trying to remember that I have everything.
Sure.
A couple of those things, obviously the guitar and the suitcase I check as soon as I get to the airport, and then I'm just carrying the pedal thing in the backpack. But both of those things, I desperately need both of those things. I got to make sure I don't leave one on the plane, which I almost did Sunday night because I've been putting it in the closet.
Right.
And I walked off the plane about 5 feet, and I'm like, oh, I forgot my pedal board, and I had to go back for it. So I'm waiting for that, where I'm going to be tired and leave that thing behind.
Right. Now, just imagine if you were doing shows, same exact type of shows that you're doing now, but you were just getting hammered after the shows.
Oh, right. Forget
if you were partying until lobby call or whatever.
Right.
If you were, that's what I'm saying. If you were doing that now, you would have lost 10 pedal boards by now.
Yeah.
You would have kept losing them.
I feel like back when we did that kind of stuff, I was really simple. I just had pretty much like a guitar and a tuner, and that was it. Just plugged straight in. I didn't really have anything there for some years, and that's when we were probably doing the most binge drinking and everything in that first 8 or 10 years of me being in the band. And then there was times where Steven went through sober periods, and we wouldn't have the stuff backstage, and then he would go back to Rat for a while, and we wouldn't play that much, maybe only a couple shows in a given year. So even though I played with them for all, 24 years, some of those years are pretty bleak. I mean, there was never a year where we didn't do a couple solo shows, but for me, I had to get other work and stuff, to get by. But usually he would clean up for a while, then Rat would go back, and they would get annoyed with those guys and start drinking again.
Push him back to the bottle.
Yeah. And they'd be like,
he's the one guy, I will say this, all those guys, not just him, but him, Blotzer, Juan, all of them. I get why they have their periods where they drink really hard, because they drive each other fucking crazy.
Right.
That would make me want to drink. I don't know how. Don't answer this if it'll cause any kind of a problem. Just say, next question. These guys have had a ton of fucking fist fights. Yes.
I've heard stories of that, of them, various ones getting into it, physical fights.
Yeah. I can't imagine that they could. I can't imagine, just from what I know, which is 10 zillion times less than what you know, I can't imagine they ever did one tour where somebody didn't punch somebody else in the face. They just seem like they were always that. I mean, they were that kind of dysfunctional back in 84 or whatever.
Right. I think they're always around people. I'm sure it got broken up. I don't recall ever seeing a Circus magazine with somebody with Blotzer with a black eye or anything.
No, and they did a good job of keeping it quiet until, I think really until Robin passed away. When Robin passed away, you just thought of Rat as they were Rat. They were just the cool guys from L.A. There was Bon Jovi and Motley Crue, and then there was Rat that was both cool and had good music.
Yeah.
Motley Crue kind of was cool, but their music was kind of Bon Jovi had better music, but were kind of dorky. Then you had Rat that had good music and were cool. So you always thought they were cool, the whole Way Cool Jr. You just thought they were cool.
It was easier for them to keep a mystique because they just kind of did more print interviews, it felt like. I mean, you can see mostly interviews still on YouTube from back in the day, and they didn't do all that many.
And not long ones either. They were all 5 minutes, 10 minutes, little quick hits on Headbangers Ball or whatever. Yeah. Hey, you're on tour. What's that about?
But they were always in the magazines, and they would get quoted, and knew those writers and stuff. And so there was a ton of, as I said, print stuff to go over. And then in Japan, they were really big. There's funny, them on Japanese talk shows and stuff where they have a bunch of Japanese puppets, and it's just a crazy atmosphere, and they're not even speaking English. And it's the Rat guys are there just kind of taking it all in. They had most success here in the United States and then in Japan, and they were able to just kind of do that scene for 10 years. They didn't go to all the other European countries that much to build it up. They were able to play here in Texas for 2 weeks, just playing dates in Texas back in 85 and stuff like that. there needs to be a real Rat documentary, a good one. Out somebody, because it was pretty big. It was almost as big as like a Van Halen phenomenon, you know.
And I don't think, and again, I don't think people remember. I think because there were always bigger, like they were never the biggest band. Rat was,
right.
You know, I was on board with Rat from the minute it hit the Midwest. Like certainly the people that had the EP, you know, the people in LA knew of Rat before I did, you know, and Mickey Rat and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the minute Round and Round hit the Midwest, I was all in on Rat. And so were all my friends.
Right.
And they were fucking really big, man. I mean, here in the Midwest, massive. Every time
also,
I saw
like,
them was a big show.
Van Halen, you know, Judas Priest kind of paved the way for heavy metal and more guitar oriented, you know, music and guitar solos and stuff like that. And then here comes Rat, and they had, like, you know, Warren's guitar playing was really fantastic for that time. And the production, the Rat production, Beau Hill, those records, Steven's voice, he had his own unique quality to his voice, and they had a great look, and the videos were pretty cool, and they broke huge, you know, and it was a crazy life for them for a couple years, and they partied it up, man. Especially Steven and Robin, they like made the most of it for sure.
I can tell you, Steven told us those stories on CMS numerous times about the 3 Ps, Pussy, Party, and Paycheck.
Oh, Susan hates that. I'll never say that again. But you know, that catches up with you as it started to catch up with Robin. By the late 80s, 89, 90, he was really out there with his partying.
Mm-hmm.
And the shows start to suffer a little bit. And whatever happened there, he was dismissed, and then things were really never the same. You know, they kind of lost. Robin was a big part of their image too, leading up until then.
And a huge part, bigger part of their sound than I think anybody ever gave credit
Definitely.
for.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember when I heard, was it Nobody Rides for Free was the first one that they did without Robin, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing it and thinking right away, this ain't right. I didn't hate the song. I liked the song.
Right, but you could tell it was just Warren playing on it or something. Like,
it didn't sound like Rat. It didn't have that, I don't know. Rat always sounded to me, and again, we're just rambling about Rat, but, you know, Rat always sounded to me like something that could be played in a strip club. They always had that dirtier, and I'm not only talking about the hits. I'm talking about, you know, Dangerous but Worth the Risk and stuff like that. I can always picture some chick grinding on a pole to that song, or Got Me on the Line, or, you know, they had that quality to them. And then when you did Nobody Rides for Free for Point Break, I just remember thinking, all right, this is very clean for them.
Right.
You know, it was not.
Well, they didn't even write that song.
No,
it was actually. I don't forgive me for not having the actual writer's name. We could probably look it up. But initially, it was made to be like a country song, and but it was given to Rat for the Point Break movie, and it's an epic part at the very end when Patrick Swayze, you know, breaks away from the cops and the waves just are. It's like a tsunami wave coming. He decides he's going to just try to risk his life and get away and ride this wave, and then the song starts. But the guy who wrote it, Steve Catan,
Caton,
was the original writer. I wonder if he ever, you know, put his demo out of it, the original thing he had. But anyway, Rat rocked it up and routed it up, and it's the way that we know it, you know. But I guess the guy was kind of bummed how it came out, and then so Steven was kind of bummed that he was bummed, and then he didn't want to play it. But I always thought it was a cool song, you know, regardless of what you're saying, you know, with Robin being missed there. It was more like their sound had evolved a little by that point. But definitely Robin was like the heavy metal of the sound of Rat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then by the time this happened, like Detonator, he wasn't like quite on it maybe as much.
Yeah.
perhaps. Although I do remember seeing them at the Whiskey, and the show is on YouTube.
Okay.
They did like a promotional radio show and played the Whiskey, and I happened to be there. I was like 17 years old, and it was Robin was up there, and they were doing Shame, Shame, Shame and stuff off of Detonator.
Sure.
So he just maybe wasn't as involved in the recording of it, but he was still kind of playing the shows. And then shortly after that, he was not in the band anymore.
Right.
And you started hearing, I don't know how much later it was that you heard about his health issues.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was a little while, like, because it was, I remember as a fan, I remember Steven being very purposefully cryptic about where Robin was. Like, there's all kinds of different videos of them playing like acoustic things and this and that. And he would always say, yeah, here's Michael Schenker sitting in for a sick Robin Crosby. You know, he never said, we got rid of Robin Crosby or he's, you know, in a rehab or anything. He always just said, Robin's sick. So here's whoever's playing guitar instead.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And it's kind of odd when you think about it because their behind the curtain business is so public that part of their behind the curtain business is still fairly unknown.
Right.
Like they've never really, I don't think any of them, maybe to you, you know, as somebody that knows Steven personally or Bobby or Juan or whatever, you know, probably more of the story, but I don't know to the public that the public ever was given a sit down. Well, here's what happened. And Robin did this, and this.
There should be like a dirt. There should be a dirt kind of movie that Motley had. Which, by the way, young kids love that. Apparently, like ones that have watched that. It's like kind of another phenomenon that I'm seeing where there's all of a sudden some younger people that are going to these old guy rock shows because they've seen the dirt and they love the '80s rock. It appeals to them. They like the whole look of it and everything.
Well, And here's a question. Steven has always been adventurous musically. Would Steven do the kind of thing that Motley did with like you know, Motley recorded with Machine Gun Kelly? Mm-hmm. Would Steven re-record Round and Round with, I don't know.
Yes. He would do any, he would totally do anything like that. Like, if there was some younger person that wanted to team up with him for something. KRS-One did something with Steven like that. This was actually probably a long time ago now, but there was a Round and Round with like KRS-One on it or something.
I have to hear that. Wait a minute. It's
I vaguely remember
and KRS-One?
Yeah. I vaguely remember that happening where they really got a lot of mileage out of this session we did. There's like a Mickey Rat record that was done that me and Troy, our bass player at the time, and Matt kicked out all these Rat tracks, like 16 tracks or something. And
I found it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Let's hear this.
All right.
I've never heard this, so all right.
Remix session.
Let's hear this.
Okay.
Now this isn't you, is it?
I think it is me playing.
Oh, is that you? All right.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago. God, it was like over 20 years ago.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Now that's the original vocal,
No,
right?
he re-sang it. Yeah, he re-sang it.
Wow, he sounds pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm with Dude Bro on this. How have I never heard this? I never heard it either.
I forgot how the KRS-One part goes, so we'll have to get to that.
We'll get to that. Let's hear. Here we go.
We'll put you on your shell another day, some other way. We're gonna go, but then we'll see you again. I've had enough. We've had enough to the time. She said, I knew right from the beginning that you were
killing this.
From the start, you put an arrow through my heart. Round and round, we'll all battle, we just give it time. Round and round, what comes around goes around. I'll tell you why.
Now, are you the one doing the solo and everything on this one?
No, well, I have to hear it.
right.
I remember George Lynch coming in and playing solos. I
Okay.
remember Tracy Guns playing a solo here and there. Remember Mark Zavon playing.
Oh, all right.
So I'll have to hear it because I
right.
just I don't listen to this regularly.
I guess not. If you don't remember, you did it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's play some more.
Looking at you,
Yeah, where's KRS-One?
I don't know where that comes in.
we're gonna make you mine. I've had enough. We've had
Scooch till you get it. Scooch till you get it.
Huh?
Scooch till you get it.
Is he singing with Steven?
I think he raps over it or something.
All right, let's see.
round and round. We'll all get round.
Here we go again, round and around. You're lost when you're lost and you're bound when you're bound. Ounce by the ounce and pound by the pound. It's time for the underground. Now bring it down. Do you really want it? If you want it, then you flaunt it. Prolong it, staying on it, never short it. Now you want it, get up on it. Action happening because you thought it. Your life has become distorted. You don't want it. Well, go around, come around, blow around, blow around. You don't really see that you're going down. Know it now, show it now. New life, throw it now. You borrow, you owe it now. Old life, throw it now. In the trash. It won't last, it'll pass. Do it fast, take off the mask. KRS-One, I'm gonna teach the class. What I teach is vast. I'm gonna reach your ass and deplete your stash. Stand up quick, let the gap go flip and your back gon' slip. That's it. Let's see what sticks and what falls to the ground. Well, go around, come around.
Out on the street.
All right, I like it. I ain't gonna lie, I like it. I like it.
That's funny.
And look at this, of course. Another waste of it. Shut up, Jackal.
Jackal.
That's funny. That's awesome. And I agree with this. Way better than modern rapping.
Right, it's
KRS-One's
KRS-One's a real rapper.
He's a badass.
Yeah. Well,
Is
it's
Steven
interesting.
friends with him or?
This was probably something to do with Cleopatra because
Okay.
initially we did this thing for Cleopatra, and then they sold the rights to a couple of these songs to the movie The Wrestler.
Oh yeah.
So if you ever watch the Wrestler movie and the Rat songs that you hear, that's me playing on those.
oh,
But
nice.
then the actual original guys kind of freaked out and made sure that when the record came out for the soundtrack that they used the original
So
versions. But if you
could get paid and not you.
yeah,
Sons
something
of
like that.
bitches.
Yeah. So, but in the movie, it's you can totally hear it on some of the songs. You can hear my
Yeah.
voice singing on it.
Yeah, and he was pretty prominent. The Rat songs, Round and Round especially, was very prominent in that movie.
There was a I'm Insane, I think, is also in it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's might have been some other stuff where that made it onto. But then Cleopatra, they didn't license it for much either, because at the time they thought The Wrestler was just some independent movie that
Right.
wasn't going to bring in much, and it actually did very well with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a great movie.
yeah, it was a good movie. And God, it's been a minute even since that already now.
Yeah,
it's been
like
a while
2007 or something, isn't it? When
Yeah.
did that come out?
So I think they had licensed it to him for a few $1,000s or something, and then it
Wow.
made it pretty big.
2008. Oh my God.
And I think this KRS-One thing was another thing where they just licensed it out for a mashup. And
Okay.
they had the rights to it at that time. So in that 5-year period that Cleopatra had the rights to do whatever they wanted with this release, because that's usually what Steven does, is like write it in there that he gets the rights back after a certain amount of
After
time where
5
he
years
owns
or
the whole
whatever,
thing. Right. And so he's about to get back Smash and View to a Thrill that he's going to repackage. So
That's
that
good.
should be interesting. But yeah, this KRS-One, that was just another thing that had come out that I vaguely remembered. And I'm glad you pulled that up.
Yeah, I honestly I'd never heard that, and I thought I'd heard everything. I guess not. There's probably 50 songs out there that you played on that I just don't even know exist.
Well, that one, I just remember it was like we did all those songs and we kicked them out in like 2 days as far as the backing tracks and everything. And then
Right.
George Lynch came in and did a couple songs soloing on, which was fantastic, by the way. Like,
I'm sure it is.
It's so cool to hear. He's so unique the way he plays, and he just doesn't do anything like everybody else does. And but yet he was melodic at the same time, and it's pretty cool if you check it out. The Mickey Rat hits or whatever.
Yeah,
George Lynch is on at least half those, and it's pretty amazing.
Now, did you play on any of the stuff that was on like Collage? Are you on that? You're not on that?
And then with the Stephen Piercy solo records, he always used like a song or two of mine, like going back to even Vicious Delight. Vicious Delight had a couple songs on it that I had written. But it wasn't until Smash and View to a Thrill that I wrote all the music to the stuff. Like before, he would write most of the songs and play all the guitar, and you can kind of tell when it's a Steven song because it's more punk rock almost sounding. It's cool. He has like a really raw like sound to his guitar playing, and he's written some great stuff that's on Out of the Cellar are his riffs.
Yeah.
In Your Direction and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's talented. I don't think he's ever gotten the credit for his talent, and on all, especially as a writer, because he wrote all the arcade songs too, right? I believe he wrote all that stuff too, and that was great. Right. And that was different. He wrote Vertex. That was great. Well, it's funny. I was supposed to interview Steven today. I'm gonna interview him here in the next whenever it's gonna happen. We were texting back and forth trying to get it together today. And one of the questions I was going to ask him was just that, does he think he gets enough credit? Because he's always kind of listed, Rat is always listed at the top of the food chain when you talk about the 80s, of course, because they were at the top of the food chain. Those fucking 5 records were as popular as anything in the 80s. Yeah. They really were.
If you listen to heavy metal, you bought those records.
Yeah, believe me, if you have a Spotify playlist that plays the 80s, you get bombarded by Rat. That's just the way it is, because Rat was one of the bigger bands. But I always thought Steven was a better vocalist than a lot of those guys, and people didn't give him credit for it because he wasn't a 5-octave guy. Yeah. But he had a very unique sound, and he still sounds like that.
Yeah, he has good days where he sounds pretty good. I mean, I still say we really need to have our own front of house sound guy.
Sure.
Because it's so, that can really like misrepresent the show too, when you have somebody who doesn't know how to mix our band, which we're not even that complicated. The guitars just need to be kind of equal, and then we have our own boost pedals for leads. So if you could just even those out, and then sometimes they'll want to like put the vocal way above the band for some reason, and you don't
his
need
name's on the front.
Steven, we got to make sure we hear him the loudest,
right?
Where it's like, no, you want to mix that, and we have our, Johnny's a great singer, I can sing. You want to mix those in there, and that's pretty much it. That's all they got to do. We don't need a monitor guy anymore, really, because we have the in-ear monitors. So as long as everything's hooked up, I have my iPad, and I just put it however I want it right there. I just make the adjustments.
Sure.
But we really, I see like half the shows could be better if they had a better dude running sound out front.
But here's the question. And I'm asking, I'm not stating, like, I'm not trying to make a point here. I'm just asking. Is that you being hypercritical because you're in the band?
I go from video. I see, like, I'll watch a video that somebody's of a show we did, and I'll where it sounded good to me because I had it mixed my way for my in-ears. But then when I hear how it was sounding out from the crowd, I go, well, this isn't good. It's like you can't hear any of the background vocals, or I only hear one of the guitars, And sometimes that has to do with where the person's standing when they're filming. Sure. Of course, if they're standing right in front of somebody's amp, or they're really close to the front of the stage, it's going to mostly pick up whatever is pointed at them, if the bass or whatever, and it sounds like shit. That's why, again, it's so dumb that everybody's allowed to just film stuff and put it out. I think so. I never would have thought that day would have come, because they were always so big on not letting people bootleg stuff. That was a whole underground thing.
Yeah, it was. Now it's just the weirdest part about it is, and I'm not making a blanket statement, but I'm going to say everybody. Nobody goes back and watches these videos.
Right.
Nobody, if you shoot 10 videos, 10 1-minute videos, or 10 songs or whatever at a show, you never go back. Do you? Anybody in the chat room, please, if you shoot video at concerts, tell me the truth. Do you go back and watch them? Do you ever say, you know what? I want to go watch that Stephen Piercy video that I shot 3 years ago.
I'll tell you, they put it up on their YouTube, and they want to look to see how many views they get, because, some of these do get 50,000 or more, views, where it's like, shit, but like we really don't have too much control over that. If they're playing the actual recordings, YouTube will find that, or Facebook will be able to sync that up. But they're uploading them for the views, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. And I do it too. I take it from them. If it sounds decent, I'll steal it from them and put it up on my Facebook so I can get something.
Right.
But I've had to live with it. I think people have come to the realization that it never sounds good, through a phone, really.
Yeah, it never does.
Unless they're playing the tracks, which they're, half of these bands are so freaked out about, how they sound, that they just are fake and they're just lip syncing the whole thing. It's just all tracks up there. But obviously we're not. You could tell by our bad notes we hit or whatever. We're not on tracks. But you know what? When you're there, you don't notice those little things like you would on a video. It sounds good, but when you're on a video, a small speaker, or your phone, it accentuates all the crap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you only really notice tracks if it's really obvious. Like any video that has been out there that has shown people with tracks is like, well, they walk away from the mic, but it's still singing, or
you still hear the band a little bit, right? In some cases.
But I mean, or they just look away from the microphone and it's still full microphone, full voice. It's that kind of stuff that's the giveaway. But I don't think. Tell me I'm wrong. You're out there on the road. Most of the bands, they might enhance a little bit, but most of them are not 100% replacing with a track. Right, they're not replacing a bass line with tracks.
The last one we saw was when you did the CMS and you were talking about Frankie Valli.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was just embarrassing, man. That was really, he just standing there and his voice was coming out. That was bad, but
but his voice sounded like back in the day.
Yeah,
right?
it sounded like 1962 or whatever. It's like, wow, he sounds great.
Right. Vince Neil, he still sings all his verses, and then they've always had either the backup singers or samples that come in on the girls. I don't know what they're currently doing. Probably have blowing it in, right, when they do these club shows.
Probably.
I don't think there's room on stage for singers, backup singers.
Did you go to any of that?
No, I'm dude. I feel like I've gotten old. Where like I barely, just to get out to our shows, about all I can handle anymore. I'm going to be 52
told you probably
soon.
weren't home. Now, no, about it, you weren't home when they were doing those club shows, were you?
We're just traveling a lot. Like we talked about earlier, it's like at my age, like after a 4 or 5 day in a row of not getting much sleep, it takes me at least a week just to get back on track. And then there's other stuff I need to be doing.
Right.
But this month, man, hardly any days off. Really, a lot of travel days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Tuesday. You're leaving at fucking 4 a.m. or whatever.
I'm probably taking 20 flights this month.
Oh my god, I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know, and I know it's supposed to be an uplifting place. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Your fucking subscriber page bums me out so much because of the flights.
Oh, right.
I see your videos of the flights, and I'm just like, I would get arrested. Mm-hmm. I would be pushing people over. Get off of me.
Right.
They're always on you. Always. They're always leaning on you,
and I do have an issue with it.
Ribs.
Yeah, like
it's
just
awful.
if someone starts to just go, oh, I'm going to rest my arm on his arm, I can't. The minutes turn to hours. The seconds turn to hours. Just them touching me. I'm like, get over here.
Yeah.
And
I don't blame
not that big. I mean, I'm a medium-sized guy, so I do fit in the seat, and I don't even have to really use the armrests if I don't want to. Usually I got my hands on the iPad or something anyway, right. So my arms are, or I'm eating or, whatever. I don't really, there's never a point where I'm like, man. But it seems like there's always somebody who's got to do that, or a bigger person. The last couple flights have been okay. It hasn't been too bad. And I had mostly Comfort Plus, to where I didn't have anybody on me this last time. That's why there was no videos of that you saw. Right. I didn't have to I didn't have any content like that. I guarantee you this week of flying, I'm going to have to film something goofy for this page. Cause I'm looking at the seats and they're like back in coach and they're like middle seats and stuff. And this is going to be awful. I know it. And now one of the shows fell through. So it's like, oh, you're doing it for even less money now. You're going out on this.
Oh, God.
But we're doing it for the kids. Oh, my goodness.
I guess so. Doing it for the kids. Well, you like to. I mean, in the end, tell me I'm wrong, but you like playing. Yeah. You like the actual performance part. It's all the other time that sucks.
It does. Yeah. No, the show part's fine. It was funny. On Sunday they had a cool little add-on where a guy who has a bar, Fat Jack's, in Texarkana, for his birthday. Like last year, for example, he had Akin come out and George Lynch, and Don paid to play his little place there. It's his little dive bar that he owns. And he did the same this year for his birthday. He had Steven's band come out. Right. And it was like interesting because you're talking about a place that only holds like 50 people. You know?
I think I've seen a video of that when Akin did it. And the guy brings out like blow up guitars and stuff, and they're all rocking in the crowd with the blow up guitars and shit.
I never watched the Dom.
Maybe that was a different birthday party or something.
He had Mike Tramp coming in the next night after us to his place, and he basically just was putting it on for his friends. But he's probably more Steven's age, right? So his buddies there. It was like, whoa, I was taken back a little bit about the ages that I was looking at. I'm trying to put this nicely.
Sure.
But it was like, whoa. I mean, it was like we were doing like an old age home show or something, It was like, it was interesting. But hey, when we got to round and round at the end, oh man, they all jumped out of their seats and were like, hey, and they were like filming it. Yeah, somebody filmed that whole thing, and those gigs are always interesting.
Sure.
When you do the little private stuff, but you appreciate it. You appreciate that, they were able to add something in there to make our weekend more worthwhile, money wise in this.
Sure. But do you look when you get your itinerary for the next month or whatever, say, I don't know when Jason tells you that you're getting your gigs, but let's say you get your November gigs tomorrow. Right. He hands you your November gigs. Do you look at it and say, okay, well, these are places I know are cool. I have no idea where this is. This is going to suck. Because I know that's what I would do in my head. I'd be like, all right, these casinos are great. I know these guys have good food and the beds are, do you do that too?
Well, I do. I can't say I don't do that. I mean, if I see, we're playing Mohegan Sun Arena, casino, and, I know that's going to be awesome. And there are some places like that, or if it's a Hard Rock or something. There's some bigger venues and some bigger festivals that we could look forward to. Hey, we got the Monsters of Rock cruise. But I'd say Steven and I kind of look at all this stuff the same as far as all the other shows, that it doesn't matter to us really. It's like, we know we got to fly, we know we got to play this show, and we know we got to fly home, and it's work,
right.
Do we love it? Yeah, that when we're up there, we love it, but everything else is a drag, and you just try to mitigate it as much as possible, make it as comfortable as possible.
Sure.
It's
a better gig than a cubicle.
The iPad has been cool. I don't know if I think I talked about it, but I had recently got this iPad, and it was worth it to get this, not only to mix the monitors and stuff, but just to have it on the plane.
Sure.
Because like Southwest, if you don't want to pay for internet on your Southwest flight, you can at least watch movies and TV on their thing for free. But on your phone, it's like you can't even watch it. It's too small.
Yeah,
you like this at least. Yeah, it sucks to try to watch a movie on your phone screen.
Right.
But this was kind of cool for that. Although now I can't like text stuff or get in a fight with Susan or something. I can't they'll see me. You fucking bitch. No. I was like, they can see it. It's all big, right? Like you
Right.
can totally see what somebody's writing on the thing.
And people are doing, and that's another thing that just sucks on a plane is no matter, because I've tried to do that a couple of times with laptops and stuff on a plane. I'll be trying to do a little bit of work or something. And especially like you said, you're going to be in the middle seat. That's the fucking worst because on both sides you get the guy doing this.
Right.
But
and sometimes if it's I don't know, somebody you want to impress, you'd be like, oh, I'll start opening up the photos from the show the night before.
Right.
This is who you're sitting next to.
Pull up some stock market shit.
Right, maybe. Yeah.
See,
I don't
you're
think
doing it wrong, dude. You should pull up the stock market things and just, oh man, I can't believe this is up 38 points today. I made 3 million this morning. Hey,
make like a fake Bitcoin statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull that up. Oh yes, just be all yes. She looks over. I'm all, yeah, my Bitcoin's gone up. It's worth $80 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the broke dick you thought you were saying. It literally would be like those meme videos or the little short videos you see where the girl blows the guy off until he gets in the Lambo, and then when he gets in the Lambo, then she's like, "Oh hey, what? I didn't get your number." Yeah, you bitch.
Right. Well, most young, good-looking guys are broke unless they're like rich. Anyways, you're just dating them for their looks. On there. But yeah, as Chris was saying, if you're on if you go to my Facebook page, you can find my subscriber group, only $1, and all these shows that I'm doing, I do a video blog from them all, so you get to see all the shit travel. You get to the venue, see some backstage stuff. It's not, I'll tell you, it's not, the backstage stuff isn't super exciting. It's kind of more silly, if anything.
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning, is people have this expectation of what it is, and it ain't. Right. At best, it's you guys and Quiet Riot and Vixen all hanging out, making yourselves a sandwich or something, because there's catering there. That's
I'll say this:
backstage.
It's professional. There's nothing like really unprofessional going on, and I don't really see it. We did do a show like a few weeks back, and there was a band. Have you heard of a band called Hurricane Alice?
Oh yeah, from back in the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, their band in there, I don't know what I was just hearing about things that were transpiring in their backstage or what have you, but there was some crazy stuff going on there that I was just like, wow, I haven't heard anything like that happening in a long time. And the singer, like he like drove his Harley out on stage at this place, but it was like a theater. So it's like, dude, he almost gave everybody like carbon monoxide poisoning. It was like, wow, and but then, God, they had apparently, I have to be quiet with this, but there was some woman lactating or something, and she was like squirting her boob milk into people's mouths. I went nowhere near there. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near there. I am not going to be seen any involved in anything like that. But that was the craziest thing that I've heard, going on,
dude.
Recently,
this is a horrible story, but it is a true story about how it is backstage these days. You're going to laugh when you hear this. The wildest backstage thing I have seen in the last 10 years was with you at Bow Wow Wow.
And that was us laughing.
That was us just goofing. But what I remember most about it was we were goofing around. You went running out to get a bottle of Jack Daniels or something.
Right.
Like you were like, fuck, we don't have no booze back here. So you went off running to get that. And me and Dinsey and my friends were all sitting there cracking up, and you came in with the whiskey and we were doing shots and whatever. And what I remember most is, I don't remember his name, the main guy from
Lee Gorman.
Lee was sitting off in a corner pouting. Mm-hmm. And then the guy from When in Rome said to you that it was getting too rambunctious backstage and that we had to go because it was getting too wild. And we really weren't doing
Tony
anything.
Of all people saying that.
But we weren't doing anything. We were just sitting around joking around. Ridiculous. I mean, that's literally what we were doing. Having some drinks and joking around. Nobody was
That's what you're going to deal with, like
anything.
Susan sometimes will say, why don't you get in another band? Or, this. I go, I'm in the coolest band. I've always been in the coolest band. And believe me, these other bands could be awful. I mean, they could be like, no fun allowed ever. and just, at least everybody in our band has a good sense of humor and, tries to at least make each other laugh and,
Sure.
Makes the most of our situation. But there's some bands where you're expected to just be quiet, do nothing, play the show, pack up your stuff, sulk, and go back to your room. And I can't do that.
Part of it too is you have to kind of like what you're playing too, don't you? Like, I'm gonna say this. You can agree, disagree, whatever. I don't think you loved being in Bow Wow Wow because I don't think you loved the music.
Well, I wasn't as familiar with the music, and they didn't, guitar wise, it didn't have as much needed of a player to play it as the Rat stuff did. So it was kind of, but it was different, at least I think, to do anything just to get away from, because at that time that I was playing for them, Steven and Juan had gone out with Jordan Ziff and did their version of Rat that, wasn't a good time for Steven. Obviously he was still partying then, and it kind of went to shit, and then the pandemic hit. But at that time I was working a job. I was and the opportunity came up where the Bow Wow Wow tour was happening, and I went, yeah, let me do it. At least I'll be doing music. And I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed being out on the road, and I enjoyed I like that lifestyle for the most part.
Sure.
And I did try to have fun with it and dance around. And, if I don't have to do that much on guitar, I can move around more and stuff. And some of it was goofy. I mean, I was drinking a lot too. Whatever. But I'm grateful to have another chance to have played with Steven longer.
Yeah.
And, no matter what happens, this has been such a cool part of my life. These, 25 years, half my life, pretty much, that I got to spend going out and playing these cool Rat songs with Steven and having these adventures. And most of it was not, the adventure of getting there, as people see, whether they're watching Jason's, tour videos or mine, which are great. And you need to subscribe and see them. And you get a lot of other stuff too. I'm about to fire up Sea Glass Hunters. We did a whole season of that this past year, where I go to my beach and I find sea glass. Sure. I'm happy to report Pete Evick paid me.
Oh, that's good.
We could take him off the list.
He's off the shit list.
The shit list. He gave me the money for the sea glass candles that he sold to everybody. So that was kind of cool.
I don't think we ever thought he wasn't going to.
No, I knew he was busy. He's like a busy dude. He has so much stuff going on.
He's only got, one of the biggest rock stars in the world, and he's the music director of that. And
that's right.
Plus he's running his own band, plus his kid's band. Doesn't his kid have a band that's going live too? Gavin?
Yeah.
Gavin?
Yeah,
Evick?
But the band's called Evick.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, people can look it up. It's cool. His son's got a great voice, and younger generation out there that loves the rock music. So check him out for sure. No, it was just a little side joke, but he had. Yeah, and in some cases when you have an ongoing sale of something, you want to wait till the sale's kind of finished before you pay somebody sometimes too, because you don't have to keep sending smaller and smaller amounts out. You just go, let's wait till this dries up and I'll pay you, whatever. It was cool. But he totally came through. He's a stand-up guy, as we knew he would be.
Of course.
And so that was cool. So sea glass, we got to finally do something with the cool sea glass that I found, and it was give it to Pete, and he made these candles. He made it happen. It was pretty awesome. He might have a few left you can check out on his Shining Soul, SOL. Their soul like the sun. Yeah. A candle company, and he has his website. Unfortunately that show's is postponed that we were going to do together, but anyways, the Sea Glass Hunters, that's one of the cool shows. Stoic Steve does cooking shows. He's due for another one of those. If you've seen Stoic Steve on the Chris Akin Presents, he's my fill-in. He's my fill-in guy when I can't be here. And what else we got? I put on some live Stephen Piercy stuff. I put the full episodes of Chris Akin Presents, but the best thing that we do on my subscriber page by far is the Fright Bites.
Yes.
And we're in October, so
we
know it has to be special. I thought right now, Chris, I don't know if how you feel about this, if we could see a couple trailers to help us decide. The first, these are all on Tubi.
Go ahead, name them out.
So the first one I want to check out to see what we think for a possibility for the next Fright Bite is Cholo Zombies.
Cholo Zombies?
CHOLO, Cholo. and then zombies, Zombies, Cholo Zombies.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. Cholo Zombies. All right, let's get this pulled up here. Here we go, Cholo Zombies.
What's up, Bessie? Haven't you heard? Don't judge a book by its cover, Holmes. Take 2 steps to the right and you say what's up. Stumble out to the left cause you feelin' drunk. Take it down to the floor with your elbows up. Move side to side as you coming up.
I think I'm gonna keep this one for myself.
We'll be seeing you soon.
All right, that has possibility there.
Okay,
I like that. I like that a lot.
that
Plus,
might.
it's got guys in it. That it's got Lazy Bone from right here in Seatown.
Yeah. There's this one maybe check out too. This one's called Blood-Sucking Redneck Vampires.
Blood-sucking redneck vampires. There it is. Is there a trailer here? That's just a picture. Wait a minute. I guess I got to go to YouTube for that one. YouTube. Go to Blood-sucking redneck vampires. There we go.
I reckon life seems to amble along a mite slower in the quiet little town of Backwash. Simple lives led by simple folk.
Oh, come on now.
Ain't changed much around here for as long as folks can remember. But then, just 'cause things is the way they is, don't mean that's the way they's always gonna be. There's a stranger heading towards Backwash, and the only thing for sure is that life will never again be the same for
The Pissers.
Yeah.
Blood-sucking redneck vampire. Stay out of light.
All right.
Well, it doesn't look quite as
Yeah, I was going to say, that I'm still on the first one. What was the first one called? Zombies?
Cholo
Cholo
Zombies.
Zombies.
I'm feeling like that might be the one. The last one I want to check out is Cocaine Cougar.
Cocaine.
But this one might not be Halloweeny enough, so we might stick with the Cholos. But
Well, let's see. Well, this is a fairly recent movie. Wait a minute.
I should be there in about 15 minutes if I cut through the woods.
A black cougar escaped from a Los Angeles County lab and is still elusive.
Chef, someone there?
That's a fucking cocaine cougar.
What is that? Here, I guess.
Talk about a cougar.
All right, that I ain't gonna lie, it does not look Halloweeny at all.
No.
But that one you need to keep on the list for maybe November,
yeah,
because I want to see that movie.
there's or maybe yeah, at least there's a lot of cocaine ones.
I know it's Cocaine Bear was the big one, right?
Right.
Cocaine.
Maybe as for snow as it gets towards Christmas, we'll do more
Yeah.
cocaine ones. But Cholo Zombies, I think
Cholo
is going to be
Zombie
the big
could be it.
announcement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can announce that Cholo Zombies.
So Cholo Zombies is going to be the Fright Bite. It's on the Tuesday the 29th.
Right.
And if you're in the Caps locals or you're on my subscriber group, you get a link to this, and it's a special private party, and you get to comment, and we read your jokes, and it's good, man. We love doing that stuff.
Not you.
Not me, Count Cracula.
Count Cracula. Not you.
I just mean we, the team.
Yeah, you're never invited. You
the
have
Monster Squad.
You have to watch it in the locals or on your Facebook page.
That's right.
All right, well that works. Cholo Zombies. I like it. That's good.
Yep.
All right, well, awesome. All right, well, let's wrap it up here, man. We've given these kids enough for one night.
Alrighty.
Enough of our rambling. Tell them where you're going to be starting here in a few hours.
Right. Well, I'm going to be on my way tomorrow morning to Roanoke, Virginia, and we're going to be playing Dr. Pepper Park on Thursday night. And then if you're in the Biloxi area, we're going to be playing the casino out there with Vixen. And then Club LA in Destin, Florida on Sunday.
Is that still in business?
I guess so. So we got 3 gigs this weekend. And then I will be back Monday. I fly home, and then I'll be back for the Chris Akin Presents next Tuesday. I'll let you know how those gigs went.
Right.
You'll be getting 3 new tour videos on my subscriber page too. I'll take you along with me so you can check these gigs out, our adventures that go with it. And then we'll be in Ohio area. Actually, first Nashville, Indiana. The what does it say? Brow County Music Center on the 24th. King of Clubs in Columbus, Ohio on the 25th. And that'll do it. Then, November's coming. My birthday's the end of the month.
Look at that.
I get to spend my birthday in an airport going to Oklahoma.
How fun.
Yeah.
How fun. You can have a piece of Sbarro pizza for your birthday.
Yeah, it's depressing. my last birthdays have sucked. Like
I
3
bet.
birthdays in a row. You want to make my birthday good? Subscribe to my subscriber group. That'd be a nice birthday present for me.
There you go.
Only $1.
That's right. And watch us on Fright Bite. That'll be your celebration of my birthday, which is actually on the 27th of October. So.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome, man. That is awesome. That'll be a late birthday Fright Bite.
Yes, that will be. So we'll have to. Anything but crickets, Sugar Smack. Don't be sending me no more fucking crickets.
Maybe Count Cracula will have a birthday song for you, Chris. Who knows?
That would be wonderful. All right, let's get out of here. Of course, you guys know where I'll be. Seth tomorrow, CMS Saturday. Seth Monday, right back here Tuesday. That's where I'll be. I'll be watching Erik play with his cat. That is not Charlie Cat. What cat is that one?
This is Kylie.
Kylie Cat.
Listen to her.
She hates you.
She's so mean.
It's not like you. All right, well, we are out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Whatever you're watching on, make sure you do all the podcasty shit. Subscribe and like and all that stuff. And we will see you guys next week. So for Chris Akin Presents, I am Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos.
Mohawks fighting wild, beach missing west, living like a child. Chris ate those crickets, man, he's in hell. Dreams of bacon and cheese, now he fell.